Welcome back to another episode of 40 Facts about the 40k universe. I am your host, Gershwan, and you are watching One Mind Syndicate. Today we continue talking about demon worlds, as we list off more awesome demon worlds that exist in the Warhammer 40k universe. So let's get into 40 facts about demon worlds. Demon World of Medrangard. Medrangard is the demon world of the demon prince and former Primarch Perturabo, and the current homeworld of the Iron Warriors Traitor Legion. It is seen in nightmarish visions as a world turned into a vast fortress with mountains of high towers and dungeons penetrating into their molten cores. Information gained from the reconnaissance within the Eye of Terror by the Imperial agents describe the world as a bleak prison planet, where the slaves are worked to death. Great chaotic warships are tethered to its tallest towers, and within each resides the Iron Warriors themselves. Other descriptions of Medrangard depict it as a huge fortress world with slave pits and towering pillars. In the white sky, a black sun pours smoky threads down onto the surface of the corrupted world. While there appears to be no native inhabitants of Medrangard, the cannibalistic mutants called the Unfleshed are known to roam the hills and gullies. Demon World of Valencias. Valencias is a demon world located in the Eye of Terror that is devoted to Slaanesh, the Prince of Pleasure. The entire planet is actually a colossal, morbid, obese man, curled into a fetal position. The surface is home to hordes of Slaaneshi demons and also serves as a base for noise marines of various Slaanesh-dedicated Chaos Marine warbands. The Plague Planet is the demon world of the Demon Prince and former Primarch Mortarion, and homeworld of the Death Guard Traitor Legion. It is a world where disease is the norm, and mycemic clouds bring contagions and death. Its diseased inhabitants pray to Nurgle for relief from their constant agony. Some of them are favored and become the Plague Lord's Chaos Champions, and then fight amongst themselves for mastery and the chance to become demon princes themselves. Beastmen make up a large part of the population. They are bloated with diseases, and flies swarm around them and breed upon their rotting flesh. The Beastmen are very proud of their signs of their god's favor, and openly boast of the number and severity of their diseases. The Plague Marines involve themselves in carrying out Mortarion's wishes, and traveling to other worlds to spread Nurgle's plague. All spacecraft which succumb to the plague are eventually drawn through the warp to the planet, where they become part of the planet's fleet. These plague fleets carry followers of Nurgle through the warp to inhabited worlds where their destructive raids are inevitably followed by an outbreak of deathly contagion. Mortarion has shaped the planet to resemble his ancient homeworld, Barbarous. Its citizens cower in its tiny villages, serving their supreme master who resides in a mighty fortress citadel far above all of them. These poor creatures should be dead, and are diseased far beyond the capacity of mortal reckoning. All is ruled by the skeletal Mortarion, enthroned upon the highest part of the planet, much like his false father once was on Barbarous so long ago. Because the Plague Planet is located close to the border between the Eye of Terror and real space, it is an excellent place to launch chaos invasions from, especially against the nearby Imperial world of the Cadian sector. The Planet of the Sorcerers, officially named Sortarius, is the current homeworld of the Thousand Suns Chaos Space Marine Traitor Legion. It is a demon world located deep in the Eye of Terror. With the fall of his original homeworld of Prospero during the Horus Heresy, the Demon Prince and former Primarch, Magnus the Red, uses his sorcerous powers to transfer Tisca, the City of Light, through the warp to a new planet within the Eye of Terror. This planet is now the demon world of Magnus the Red, dark, rocky, volcanic, and in constant turmoil. Its skies are filled with blazing storms of warp energy. Towers thrust up from the rocks jutting from the lava plains, and serve as twisted mockeries of what the City of Light once was. Dwarfing all other edifices on the world is Magnus's own tower, an obsidian monolith called the Tower of the Cyclops. The great glowing eye of the tower watches over the planet, its gaze penetrating the warp into the material universe. This allows Magnus to sense the arcane artifacts and gifted psychers which fascinate him, so that he can dispatch his 1,000 sons to raid the Imperium and seize them. When the 1,000 Sons first appeared on the planet, they found it unpopulated. Over thousands of years, they have acquired many servants and slaves through their raids. It has created a servant underclass, some of whom have escaped their masters into the hostile lands of the demon world. These escaped slaves then joined the nomadic warbands, led by both Chaos champions from the 1,000 Sons, as well as from the ranks of the escaped slaves. Often the Chaos champions arise amongst the world's nomadic warbands, and are then recruited back to serve the 1,000 Sons. Over thousands of years, a large population of beastmen have also developed on the planet, born as the mutant children of captured humans, and forming a subordinate warrior caste for the 1,000 Sons traitor marines. Demon World of Sicarius. Beneath a rolling sky of fire and blood, Sicarius is a world completely covered by vast sprawling cathedrals, temples, and monuments dedicated to the worship of the ruinous powers of chaos, in the guise of Chaos Undivided, and it is the homeworld of the Word-Bearers Traitor Legion and its demon prince, Lorgar. Spider-leg cranes and slaves numbering in the millions constantly toil in the never-ending task to raise more structures of devotion and worship, level upon level, atop the existing crumbling edifices and cathedrals, producing obelisks and spires many kilometers high. As a result, the majority of buildings in Sicarius are subterranean, a labyrinthian warren of interconnected structures devoted to the worship of chaos. The seat of the Dark Council of Dark Apostles that rules Sicarius in Lorgar's name is the Basilica of the Word, an immense cathedral fortress crowned with hundreds of 5-kilometer-high barbed spires, each studded with jagged spikes, upon which are impaled countless living sacrifices dedicated to the dark gods. Within another structure known as the Templum Inficio, unseen by even his own Chaos Space Marines since the Word-Bearers arrived on the world, is the demon prince Lorgar, who maintains a constant meditation on the will of the Chaos Gods that has been remained undisturbed since the Word-Bearers fled into the Eye of Terror 10,000 Terran years ago. The bodies of the Word-Bearers' fallen Dark Apostles are buried in Sicarius' unholy soils. Temporia is a demon world located within the Eye of Terror that seems to be dedicated to Tzeentch, the Changer of Ways. It is a mind-boggling contradiction of geography and artifice, home to cog plateaus, helical factories, rainstorms of magma, and spiraling stairways that span around newcomers. Infested by demon engines and the lesser demons known as Flamers, it is also home to the warsmiths Valdrak. The demon world of the Frozen Heart. At the very center of the great warp storm known as the Screaming Vortex lies the demon world legend named the Frozen Heart. If its fellow inner vortex demon worlds, Crucible and Contrition, are beyond mortal experience, then the Frozen Heart is entirely unknown, though numerous and often contradictory myths and visions make mention of its nature. Some say it is a realm populated by the shades of the most vile of traitors, once mighty heroes whose souls have been blasted by their fell deeds, and who now exist as an unsubstantial and very fading remnant of all they once were. Others say that in the Frozen Heart, the eternal struggle between the dark gods is in perfect balance, and such the warp itself is entirely motionless. Some have even claimed that the Frozen Heart is the graveyard of ancient gods, consecrated grounds upon which none but the immortals may tread. In truth, all of these things and none of them may be true, and besides, the mortal minds could never comprehend the truth and stay sane. There is a legend concerning the Frozen Heart. It is said that within the center of the world is the unknowable dynamo that keeps the Screaming Vortex in its perpetual raging state. It is even said that if someone could master this power, they could calm portions of the vortex, allowing fleets and armies to escape its grasp, and burst forth to conquer and plunder the realm of the Corpse Emperor in a great new Black Crusade. Torvendis is a demon world located at the very center of the warp storm called the Maelstrom. Due to its location, it has a symbolic value to the ruinous powers. Torvendis' geography is in a constant state of flux and changes significantly every generation. There are two prominent features on Torvendis: the Cainix Mountains, a huge mountain chain where many different people live, and the city of Lady Carvindia, where millions live only to worship Slaanesh. The bedrock of Torvendis itself is made up of stratas comprised of compressed bodies of those fallen in battle on the world. The history of Torvendis is dominated by the legend of Argulion Vec, a chaos champion who came to the planet in ages past and did battle with a creature known as the Last. From that time on, Torvendis would be ruled by a succession of rulers, including the coronet demon, Shakar, the Crimson Knights, Mutander and his diseased monks, and finally, Lady Caradivia, the princess of Slaanesh. Though there were many others as well, it was said that any who tried to record the history of Torvendis would end up going mad. The dominant power on Torvendis was Lady Cardivia, a devout devotee and chaos champion of Slaanesh. Her power was based on her legion's disciplined warriors dedicated to the pleasure god. They were equipped with bows and spears, but also had access to some primitive firearms and artillery. They would use stimulants in battle to enhance the experience, and many of their weapons were coated in poison. Charybdia could also call upon untold numbers of Slaaneshi cultists in time of war, and put huge number of slaves onto the battlefield. In dire situations, her chaos sorcerers could call upon demons of Slaanesh to aid Charybdia's armies in battle. A large number of Chaos Space Marines from the Renegade Violators chapter also fought under the banner of Lady Charybdia. The tribes of the Canis Mountains could also muster considerable strength, but nothing to compare to the legions of Charybdia. These barbarians were primarily armed with melee weapons like swords and axes, but also boasted several types of specialist troops. Both Charybdia and the tribes of the Canis Mountains used mutants in their armies as officers and shock troops. Demon World of Ventress. Once a lush and beautiful agri-world, Ventress was the primary producer of most large grains for the Jericho sector. Now twisted and warped by the rotting touch of Nurgle since the birth of the Hadex anomaly, Ventress produces plants that are used to create vile poisons and hallucinogenic drugs. Wanting to create a planet more to his liking, the Plague Father pushed the land masses together until they created 3 continents, where once there were 9. The next step that he took was to move the clouds out of the way, so that all could look upon the glory of his creation. The clouds were moved toward the poles and turned a shade of pink, so as not to distract the eyes from the crowning achievement. The sea themselves, once a beautiful shade of blue, now run green with pus. Any wildlife that survived the change could find itself mutated into strange new forms and spread the unholy plague to every corner of the planet. The human population of the planet was hit hardest of all. Those that refused Grandfather Nurgle's pestilent embrace were the lucky ones. These people were merely executed, while those that quickly turned their worship to the great diseased one found themselves rewarded with a form of leprosy. Their limbs would quickly atrophy and die off over a period of 7 days, but on the 8th day, the limbs that were lost would begin to grow back. The cycle repeats for 8 months out of the year, but on the 9th month, the regeneration does not stop at simply regrowing the lost limbs. During that month, the limbs become bloated and grotesque mockeries of what they once were, until the last day of the month, when they explode, spreading the plague amongst any who have not been gifted with it. And those were 40 facts about demon worlds. Thank you guys so much for listening. Please comment down below and suggest any topic that you guys would like us to talk about in the next following videos. Don't forget to put suggestion followed by the topic that you guys would like us to create a video for. Thank you guys so much for liking, commenting, and sharing. By you guys liking, commenting, and sharing, it's allowing us to give you guys awesome giveaways. And I know you guys are asking, when are we going to do the giveaway for the Burning of Prospero? That's going to be tomorrow, Monday. So thank you guys so much for listening. This was Gershwan with One Mind Syndicate, signing out.